What's up, everybody? It's your favorite boxer, Buster Douglas's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Maketoys Cross Dimension Buster Skywing. This is on loan to me from Joe, not Joe KW, but Joe S. And he sent this. He also traded me straight up for an Apollyon for the Takara Hot Rod. So, friend in need is a friend indeed, as they say. This guy comes with a ton of accessories. There's a lot I want to talk about in final thoughts in regards to Maketoys, so let's not waste too much more time and get started. He comes with these two pieces. They're sculpted quite nicely. They're painted quite nicely. We have the red stripe down on the sides. We have silver on the tail fins, silver on the side fins, silver on the mini guns, for lack of a better term, and then silver on these little tech details. Really quite nicely done. And they plug in to his arms. He comes with a set of wings. We have moving pieces all over the place. Lots of different stuff you can do. Tons of paint, Tampo paint, silver paint. Inside even has some little detailings. This is a bit loose, probably can be tightened up at this screw right here. It's not mine, so I don't mess with people's stuff like that, but pretty nicely done. Slide the wings out, rotate them 180 degrees, and then you're gonna use this square here that's going to slide in to this tab that's sticking out of his back. And that will lock in. This becomes the release button right here to then slide it off. You then have these two guns. You got red paint, silver paint. You got the handle on a ball peg. I would be a little careful though. It's very tight, and the length of the handle gets you a lot of torque. And these plug in to his back plate. He can also hold them with tension. There is a groove in his hand and a groove in the gun, but I can't get it to line up quite right. And it seems like the groove in the gun is too big for that in the hand. So, you know, I don't want to damage this guy, but it seems like maybe it could be possible if you forced it, but it also doesn't seem natural, but he can hold it with tension. Also, the two guns can interlock by using the mini gun section and tabbing it into the back of the other piece, and then both of those can slide down inside the back of the jet. You also get this batch of accessories that is mainly for the upgrade to the Optimus. These are painted like a gunmetal silver. This is more of a straight silver with a red translucent plastic matrix, which was probably on the same sprue as the visor. And then this one is just a straight black plastic piece. We'll go into this when we get him into that mode. All right, so let's talk about the figure. The head is on a ball peg. As a result, you get it all the way up to there, which actually isn't that far. You get it down to there, which is good. And actually, it's more important because of the size of the bot that he'd be able to look down, then he'd be able to look up. This visor bit here does raise. I wish it raised a bit more because it seems like it wouldn't, like he'd be always looking underneath his glasses. Like, you know, you put them on your forehead and they slip down a little too far and it's obnoxious. Like, that's how this seems. Red translucent, which isn't a bad choice because you can see through the face nicely when it's on. I just wish it got up a little further. The sculpt is great. That's never Maketoys' issue. Red paint on the eyes, silver paint on the face, silver paint on the, or grayish paint on the helmet, the visor part, and then the red translucent. Shoulders. We have a hinge inside the chest, soft ratchet, and that is, and then, I thought that was it, a separate hinge outside, inside of the shoulder. That gets you the arm all the way up. If it weren't for this, I'm not going to push it, but let's see. I kind of want to push it. Push it. No, but anyway, great range up regardless. And that's a soft ratchet inside there as well. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, gets you the full range. Let's take this off, shall we? Just so we can look at this arm a bit better. We have this like blue silver paint here. It's throughout the figure in different spots. It's quite nice. And then a red paint inside there, which looks good as well, red on the back. The forearm, we have gold paint in there, silver, the same silver paint in here, and the wrist, and all that looks good. For the wrists themselves, you have a swivel, and then you have the fingers on a base pen knuckle, and the index finger has an additional hinge, so you don't have to have tight writer fingers. It's a little bit, but this works. Because that looks like almost like a lazy point, you know, and you can get some attitude and stuff and some expression out of that. So I'm good with that. So 2 points of articulation on this first finger, and then the rest are tight writer fingers on a base pen knuckle, which I think is fine. The wings, obviously you saw they can swivel a bit. You can also flap this part out for a longer look. I prefer it a bit more compact, and then these raise up as well if you're interested in that. We have, for the chest, we have gold paint We have silver, the same silver paint. We have this red translucent, which looks like it's over top of silver paint. Nice. Waist swivel is soft ratcheted once again, and you have 1 click ratchet forward, maybe 2, for an ab crunch, which is pretty nice. Nothing back. For the hips, same silver paint, different silver paint here. They are soft ratchet out to the side for the full Van Dam. Nice ratchet forward and back. For it's beyond the full Monty at the front. It's a little shy in the back, but you know, you can get it straight out. So let's give it to him. Thigh swivel. That's also on a soft ratchet on both sides. Single, oh no, I was gonna say that doesn't seem right. Double hinged knee, but using just the first hinge, no, I guess you gotta use both to get the full range. Get you a pretty good run. Silver paint on the back, which looks great. Red paint on this knee and in different places. Same at the bottom piece here. And this is actually 2 different types of black plastic, which is nice. It breaks it up a bit. For the feet, we have a little bit of silver paint on the toes and some silver paint here on the heel. The heel does separate, so you can get it a little bit wider open depending on the stance you want. You get an ankle tilt down a bit, up a bit. You can move this piece, which is on its own hinge, out a taste, and then you have a great rocker. So no issues there really. I hope you could see that. I hope that was in frame. And then there it is from the back, and I think it's pretty cool. You know, this is a very stylistic approach, you know, but we should expect that, right? Because that's part of the deal for buying in. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in the private thoughts. I mean, private thoughts. You don't want us to know my private thoughts, trust me. But in my final thoughts. Size comparison wise, there it is with the Black Striker Manus, and I love that scale. I think it's super appropriate, and I think it looks striking, you might say. But seriously, I think it looks good. There it is with a Hasbro Voyager and a Hasbro Deluxe. And once again, I think this fits. And there it is with MMC's Tarn. So I think if you wanted to kind of imagine that this was an IDW sort of representation of Skyfire or Jetfire, I think that would work as well, scaling wise at least. Let's do the upgrade stuff first. And in order to do that, we're going to take this backpack, we're going to press our release button, and we're going to slide his jetpack off. Then you have to get his leg pieces off, open up this flap in the back, open up this flap, untab this from the side. This one you just untab from the side. This connection's a little bit tighter. Be careful, it's a long peg that plugs in, and then you should be able to slide this front piece off from the leg. We'll show that again real quick. Open, open, dang it, open, open, open. Rock this one down. Good grief. Jeez whiz. Chest off, and for the shoulder pads, grab from the top at the back and flip forward, and they'll come right off. They're the easiest ones to do. Before we get started, I make a critical error in the beginning by not having this all right. For whatever reason, I start like this with the torso backward. And then I had to fix it at the end. I just wasn't paying attention. Don't make the same mistake I did. Fix it so that the pelvis and the chest and the legs are all lined up, so these silver pieces are on the outside. You know, I did that, so hopefully you won't have to go through that. We've already reviewed Striker Manus, so I'm not going to show both sides, but this is how you want it to be. You do that from kind of combiner warsing this leg down. When you collapse the feet, make sure that this peg goes up inside of this gray piece here, and then this peg on the foot goes inside to that gray piece there, and you have to use this double hinge to do so. To get the legs on, I start with these 2 tabs here. You want to get them inserted there with tension, and then that will kind of give you a free hand because it's connected at that point. And you want to make sure that these bars down here at the bottom, there's a brown piece and then a black, they're on double hinges, that they're kind of straight, and that allows you to tab this piece back into the section where it once was when it was locked into Jetfire. And same for this side with this tab here. And then on the back, this curls around and kind of locks in with tension, it seems. I could be wrong about that. I'll take a closer look. But it seems like it's this tab here, and once it locks around the back, it pretty much holds with tension.
I'll do it again just to see if it makes it any clearer for anyone. It's not the easiest thing to kind of sort out, but there, and then you want the front piece here to tab in, and then this side piece here to tab back in, and then the back part kind of comes around and locks into the back of the foot for the truck, which pretty much keeps it lined up with tension, I think. Then this piece slides over his head. There's 2 tabs that lock into his collarbone, basically on both sides, and then there's 2 ports here that slide right onto the front of the chest. You want to slide on this piece onto the bar, the sliding bar on his forearms. Same for the other side. The snap in is right here. The C-clip is just for tension, so it won't snap onto the bar, as a heads up. Then on the shoulders, you want to peg in your piece here, and it also pegs in simultaneously to his axe. Same for the other side. You can slide the cockpit over on top of the silver piece that holds the matrix. Take his back plate, move these pieces down, rotate the wings 90 degrees, and then this is going to slide into this back piece that's standing out there, and then you can bring this piece down and just sit it against his back. And then you plug in his stuff. I'm not sure how I feel about this, but we'll get him armored up, we'll get him cleaned up, and we'll take a look. Okay, so we only need to go through a couple points of articulation. The shoulders get jammed up a little bit here because of the axe. You can work it around. This piece here is popping off on mine left and right, but so you can work it around and get it. It's just not the easiest thing in the world. The weight does make this one a flap forward. You can spin it still. The knee works extremely well because it bends up at this upper joint here. It's like it. Oh my God, dude. I am not crazy about this gimmick of it. I feel like maybe if this tabbed in a bit better, maybe that will help. Let's see. And then the ankles and stuff all work the same. So the only thing you really need to know is about the knee and the shoulders, and they both are effective, and the knee is surprisingly effective. But let me clean this up real quick. We'll do some final thoughts just on this guy. So it's impressive, and it has presence. Wings will do that. It's a big, bulky bot. I do feel like something should have been done for the head because the head seems really small now. I was actually surprised at how much those side pieces bulk up the arms because the arms look really weak and flimsy until the end. It ultimately works. It's not as solid, I'll say, because the joints in this Striker Mantis aren't holding up extremely well. You got a lot of weight there on the back. So you have to be careful of that. That's really the only thing stopping you from really enjoying this. I think as a display and walk away, you're gonna be fine. The playability of this, it loses a fair amount of that Striker Mantis definitely had. It's just, it's just not as secure. All these pieces integrate well. They just don't work as an action figure as well, especially within the cross dimension kind of line and reputation. So if this is why you're buying it and you plan on displaying it, I think you'll be fine. If this is why you're buying it in order to play with it, I think you might be more frustrated than you'd imagine. But in my opinion, this is kind of a bonus feature of this toy. So let's get back to the toy. Real quick, I started breaking this down. I really like this. Just like this. Without the wings. I think that looks pretty sick. I don't know. To me, this works really well. It still has the playability. You don't lose anything. It looks impressive. It looks intimidating. I understand wings always make things look cool. I get it. But that to me really works. All right, back to the toy. Now let's get this guy transformed. So we're gonna bring the arm down, we're gonna rotate the fist so that we can tuck it back inside and close it back up. We're gonna do the exact same thing on the other side. Open up the forearm, swing the wrist around, fold the wrist up, spin the head around 180. You wanna raise this up here at the shoulder joint, and you want this bar to be visible, so that's how you want it on the forearm. So you need to rotate it a bit so you can see this bar on the forearm and then raise up the arms. At that point, you can disconnect, some of this stuff from the side and bring it down. Then you want to release this piece, fold out this piece. I didn't put the cockpit back on, but I will. Connect that, use this double hinge here, be careful of his antenna. Get up and over the head and slide it back down. You can then rotate this entire section so that he's walking kind of like that, you know, like the Macross thing or whatever, and collapse that just to get it out of the way. You can then spin the wings 180 to kind of get them in the right shape. On the back, on the underside, line up your jets so that they lock in, and then your forearms so that they lock in. Now we have to fix the hips because before we just got them out of the way. So bring them up so that the silver piece is visible from the bottom of the jet, and then rotate at the thigh so that the front of the foot is facing towards the front of the jet. And then once you've done that, you can collapse it back down. And now we got to deal with all this. So open this up, slide on the rail down, open this flap up. This front shin, you want to slide up. And golly, it's not easy to do. Fold this piece down, turn the foot 90 degrees so that the toe is facing towards the wing, and then collapse the heel down. The toe itself spins 180 degrees, and that's one leg ready. We're gonna do the same on this side. Open up this flap, slide it down, open up the remaining flap, turn the heel 90 degrees, slide the shin up. Good night. There. Fold this part down, bring the heel back. The toe you want to spin 180 degrees. Then start bringing the legs down on the underside, and then on the top side, we're gonna kind of get it cleaned up. And there's just no easy way to do this. And it's just a matter of getting it all together, which I'll probably have to do off camera because it's a pain in the balls. And once you get it all together, which is no easy feat, bring these flaps up, and they kind of have to go, oh my God, man. Over top like this, and then down into the back plate. I just had popped a piece off. And then your final step is to slide these pieces out. There's a little small tab that tabs into this section, and then collapse it. Whew. Clean it up and take a look at it. And there it is, and it's pretty. It reminds me of some sort of sci-fi jet I can't put my finger on at the moment. It does have landing gear. That's supposed to stay stuck in a bit better. It does have landing gear down here that can flip up. And yeah, I mean, like, this looks really cool. The underside doesn't do as well of a job, that big gap there, but it looks really cool. You know, it does, and it kind of does feel like it's in the spirit of Jetfire. Obviously, it'll look more so in the white, but yeah, I just don't know if it's worth the trouble, though. Like, it's just feels, the engineering feels very, like, antiquated in regard to what most people are doing these days, but it's not, I mean, it's beautiful. You know, it's kind of a subjective thing as to whether or not it's worth the trouble to you, but I like it. I like it a lot. I like it aesthetically an awful lot. All the modes, to be fair. Size comparison wise, there he is with Tiger Tracks. And you can have these wings angled, you know, like this, I think is how they recommend, but you can have it straight out, whatever fits your sensibilities the best. Final thoughts. Let's talk about the negatives. I don't think the backpack works really well for the Optimus, for the Striker Mantis. It makes it cumbersome and not easy to use, takes away the fun and enjoyment which I feel like most of the Cross Dimension line have had. As for Jetfire and Robot Mode, a lot of soft ratchets, which aren't my favorite, doesn't really do it for me. My biggest complaint is a personal one, and that is the engineering. It seems antiquated. It doesn't seem up to snuff with what most people are doing nowadays. There might be a certain charm to that because people may have missed that particular style, but objectively, my main issue with the engineering is that sometimes I feel like you have to put tension on pieces that you shouldn't have to put tension on and might cause damage to the figure. That's my biggest complaint here. As far as the positives, I love the sculpt. Fits in perfectly with the Cross Dimension style and aesthetic. The materials feel fine. They feel kind of typical Maketoys circa 2016. It has a really strong presence. You might say it's giving you the present of being present in your presence. Sorry, I learned that at a work thing I shouldn't have had to go to. And the articulation is top shelf. It's extremely well done, as we've come to expect with all the Cross Dimension stuff. The playability of the action figure and the playability of Prime without the backpack, also on par with everything
everything they've been doing within the Cross Dimension line. It's going to create a lot of fun posing, a lot of great pictures, etc., etc. There is a lot of merit there. Do I recommend it? I would say if frustrating transformations don't bother you. But I feel like this is definitely the most frustrating transformation of their Cross Dimension line. Far from the most frustrating transformation I've ever had to go through. But of this particular line, I'd have to say so. Hope that helps. Thanks to Joe for letting me take a look at it. And thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.